What the movie The Martian can teach us about achieving our goals. The Martian is a sci-fi book from author Andy Weir. It's one of my favorite audiobooks, so if you haven't seen the movie, listened to the audio, or read the book, then I recommend you go and do that first before watching this video, as there'll be lots of spoilers. I'll leave the links in the comment section below. The story is about Mark Watney, a NASA botanist and engineer who becomes stranded on Mars after his crew thinks he died during a fear storm and blasted off Earth without him. Alone on Mars, with all communication equipment damaged and only a meager amount of supplies, Mark is confronted with what seems like impossible odds. I remember listening to this many years back and thinking, there's a lot to be learned from Mark's approach to tackling a large problem, and the spirit and focus to never give up. Whilst hopefully we'll never be in a situation as dire as his, we might have large dreams that seem out of our reach, or difficult problems that are too hard to solve, that there must be some systematic approach to tackling them. In the movie, after the storm clears, Mark makes a video blog and assesses the situation and realizes that 1. He's alive, but he can't contact Earth or his fellow astronauts. 2. He has a year's worth of food, but the next planned mission is in 4 years. Mark then begins by focusing on his most important problem, which is having enough food to survive, and starts thinking about ways to solve this. He only has 1 year worth of food, which means he'll need to create another 3 years worth. He calculates that he could use the Mars hab and tent to grow food, and while small, if he maximizes the space, it would be enough for 3 years worth of crop. So now, we just need to find croppable soil, water, and something edible to grow. But his large single problem has now been broken into 3 smaller problems. Problem number 1. Something edible to grow. Mark was lucky that NASA had packed a few whole potatoes that the crew was going to eat for Thanksgiving Day. He instead plans to cut them into small pieces and plant each, which will grow into full-size potatoes. He can then eat some and cut the remaining into pieces and again repeat the process. Problem number 2. Croppable soil. With his botany background, Mark knows that Martian soil, unlike Earth soil, doesn't have the bacteria nor nutrients to grow anything. He has a bit of Earth soil with him, but not enough to farm with. To solve this problem, he uses his feces as manure and places it on the Martian soil, then sprinkles a bit of Earth soil on top of it to infect it. The Earth soil contains dozens of different species of bacteria, which should grow and spread into the Martian soil and make it croppable. Problem number 3. Water, and lots of it. Mark knows that water is H2O, hydrogen and oxygen, and if he can find enough of those elements, he can make water by burning them together. So this single problem is again broken down into 2 smaller problems, finding hydrogen and finding oxygen. Problem 3a. Where to get hydrogen. The previous flight had left a lot of rocket fuel, and rocket fuel contains hydrazine. Mark again uses his chemistry knowledge to split up hydrazine into nitrogen and hydrogen, and calculates he can generate enough hydrogen for about 600 liters of water, enough for his 3 years worth of crop. Problem 3b. Oxygen. Mars' atmosphere, whilst thin, is 95% CO2, and he happens to have a machine called the oxygenator, whose sole purpose is to break up oxygen from CO2. Yay! There's quite a lot of science in the movie, and I recommend you read up on it more if you're interested in any parts, and also, I'm not quite sure if I got it all correct. But the main outtake is, Mark was able to break up the complex problem into smaller and smaller problems until it was something he was able to solve, and combined with his relentless refusal to quit, he was able to overcome a seemingly insurmountable obstacle. This approach is quite common in engineering and science to solve difficult problems or tackle large-scale projects, but we can apply the same principles to many things in our personal lives that we think are too difficult or too big to do. For example, let's say your aim is to retire in 10 years with $50,000 a year in passive income. Seems like a far-fetched target, especially if you currently have no investments or passive income. Well, you can take a step back and assess your situation. You might be lucky to have a stable job and realize if you cut down on your expenses and luxury items, you can save $20,000 a year. And with the discipline to not spend it, after 10 years, you'll have $200,000. If you invest that into a dividend stock with 5% return, you can generate $10,000 a year. So now you just need to find another $40,000 a year. You could consider using your extra time to create a second stream of income by posting YouTube videos. But generating $40,000 a year through YouTube is a mammoth task. So again, we could break it down further and focus on generating $5,000 a year first, and then later find ways to increase it to $10,000, $20,000, and finally $40,000. $5,000 a year means about $416 a month. Perhaps uploading 4 videos a month with enough views can earn that amount, in which case your first actionable task is to start creating a YouTube video and researching how to get 10,000 views. There are, of course, many other methods you could use to generate that $5,000 a year, including property investment, writing books, and selling products. By breaking up difficult problems into smaller sub-problems that are within your resources to solve, any big problem might not seem so large anymore. Also, if you draw up the dependencies between the problems, it can give you a plan to reach the final goal. You might find in the end you need to accomplish dozens and dozens of smaller tasks before reaching it, but nothing worth having comes easy, so stay focused. And combined with strong habits, there's nothing that's out of your reach. If you enjoy watching this video and find it valuable, please don't forget to tap the like button. Thank you.